Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. I hope you guys are having a lovely, wonderful, fantastic day. So in one of my last videos, we did an unboxing of a $100 Halloween home decor box. And I asked you guys if you'd like to see me try to recreate it for either like cheaper or better, or hopefully both. And you all said that you would like to see a recreation video. These are some of my favorite videos to do. I think they're so much fun. So I'm really glad that you guys enjoyed them too. So today we're going to attempt to dupe that decor. I'm going to take $100. We're going to the thrift market. What do you call that place? The thrift store. We're gonna go to Home Goods as always, and then we're also gonna hit up like the craft store just a little bit. And we're gonna see if we can put together a better Halloween home decor box than the original. Now, just a quick note, because I always get a comment about this. I am giving myself a $105 budget. Technically, it is a $100 home decor subscription. However, there is a mandatory $5 shipping charge. So like you're not getting the box no matter what if you don't pay that $5. So you have to pay $105 or else you don't get a box. So that is how much money I spent on this box, and therefore that is how much money I'm going to give myself to recreate the box. Anywho, let's go ahead and get on into this recreation. Really quick, let me give you all like an overview, a rundown of the items that we're actually looking for. So the first thing we're trying to find is some type of fun, cool tapestry scroll, like the first one from the box. Doesn't necessarily have to be a scroll or tapestry, but some type of interesting, spooky, kind of cool wall art decor. Two, we're looking to recreate, but not very closely, this candy dish because it's a spooky spitter and I don't do spooky spitters. Something that'll hold candy, preferably more candy than this tiny spider. Three, candles that need batteries. That one, as you guys will see, will end up being both difficult and also incredibly easy to replicate. What number are we on? 3. The fourth thing that we're looking for is some type of light up Halloween decor, preferably a tree, something with little twinkle lights on it, maybe a little bit of black glitter, a tree light up thing for potentially the yard. And then 5, we're looking for some type of spooky, creepy little ghosty boy. You know, something that would give you nightmares if you saw it standing at the end of the hallway looking at you. But I did actually go shopping to find something that would, you know, replicate or fill in that space in the box for that final ghost item, but we're also going to attempt a ghostly DIY at the end of this video. All right, now let's get on into the hunt for these items. First things first, I really wanted to attempt to try to replicate some of these things from the thrift store. In my brain, I just assumed that people would be around this time of the holidays selling off some of their like Halloween decor from years past they didn't want anymore for like real cheap. That's what I would do. I've had a booth at the Peddler's Mall. That's precisely what I would do. But honest to goodness, there is barely anything at my local Peddler's Mall. We didn't get to go to the big like Lexington humongous Peddler's Mall. There might have been more there, but truly and honestly, there was not a lot. I was also just trying to see if I could find anything vintage and cool that could also double as a Halloween item. I did come across like several old cast iron, you know, witches, children, and cauldrons. Just several old cauldrons, but they were like way out of budget, like way out of budget. I found these little spooky frame pictures. They were kind of cute, but they didn't really like meet the mark for the scroll, and they were a bit overpriced, at least the ones that had prices. I found a coat rack that I was like, oh my gosh, if I just like popped a styrofoam ball onto his head, I could make a head and then make a, you know, a draped spooky ghost like the one we got in the box. My mom did find this adorable little cauldron though that I thought could potentially work instead of the spider for a candy dish. It was $8.99, which doesn't sound like a ton for a vintage item, but because we're so used to like searching for and purchasing milk glass, and it was like, you know, a vintage little milk glass thing, it was a little bit too much for the budget for a very small candy vessel. And that's one of the things I didn't like about, you know, the spooky spider candy dish. Besides the fact it was a spooky spider, you could barely put any candy in it, so I wanted a larger vessel for the amount of candy that I want. Now I did come across some actual Halloween decorations. There's this light up witch hat that I thought, yeah, okay, this could potentially work if I can't find a light up tree. That thing was $45 at the thrift store. Manage your expectations, Peddler's Mall. I found some more spooky pictures, but they definitely weren't as cool as the scroll. Then I thought like maybe an actual old like black and white spooky picture could be even cooler than the scroll. But the only one I found was this one, and it was $10, which is a great price, but it was a little too sad. Like it was, the subject matter was just very sad. So we left it there. There's this little cute sign about like a witch apothecary. It was 35 bucks and damaged. And I found a booth selling literal Dollar Tree item, actually from the Dollar Tree, in their booth for 3 to 5 times the money. So we were really sugar, finding some great stuff. There is this thing. Yeah, I didn't like that thing. So in the end of it, there's only one item that I ended up leaving with, and it's this stick. It's a stick with a little hook on it, and it's for holding wreaths. And I'll show you guys what I think I'm gonna use that for at the end of the video. So I left the thrift store feeling entirely, incredibly defeated, and then we headed to Home Goods, which made me feel better. And it did. It's a fun place, what can I say? So heading into Home Goods, right? I didn't know what I was going to encounter because it's kind of late in the season, to be fully honest. I mean, it's later now than it was when I first recorded this, but it was still fairly late in the home decor Halloween season. So I was a little bit afraid they wouldn't have a ton, but fortunately, they overpurchased. They definitely overpurchased for the Halloween season. So when we walked in, the front section and the first couple of rows were just cram-packed with Halloween stuff. I don't know how much of like the good stuff was left, you know what I mean? Like it was probably the picked over items, but the reason it was all like cram-packed in there is because they were just shoving Christmas, like, you know, just like with their feet up against the aisle, shoving Christmas into the store. I've been to Home Goods a lot. You guys know that. You guys know I've been to Home Goods a lot. I have never seen the aisles more packed. There was stuff everywhere. It was a little overstimulating, to be fully honest. Like I was trying to get my little buggy through the aisles, like avoiding witches, like poking out, all while Jingle Bells was playing over the loudspeaker. It was a little overstimulating, and I don't think I got the best footage. I'm very sorry about that. I mean, I was even talking to like Home Goods employees as they were trying to cram stuff back into the sections, and I was like, oh my gosh, I've just never seen it this full before. And they're like, we haven't either. They just keep telling us to put stuff on the shelves, and they were apologizing to me because there was like crashes in the aisles and you couldn't get through. I'm like, I guess I'm gonna apologize to you. However, I was able to find some items that I personally think are pretty good, and I think they fit the requirements for the original box. So the first little thing that I was able to find that I thought would work as a replication of an item inside of the box was this cute little bucket. Got some random sticks on the inside. And it's a nice bucket. I feel like this is a really nice bucket. This, honestly, when I first picked it up, I anticipated it being more expensive than it was because the whole thing is metal. It says trick or treat right here. It's like punched out hollow. But then the most interesting part is that the little handle is a bone and it's connected to these little skull guys. Isn't that fun? When I first saw it, I was like, oh, it's like faux metal bamboo. I don't think that's bamboo. I think that's joints. But the handle and the little skulls are some type of cast metal, probably cast aluminum or something like that. Feels a little honestly heavier than aluminum, but I think it's super cool. Like I said, the entire thing is metal and it's a really nice size, and it was only $9.99. Which part of me thinks this might have been like a little bit mislabeled, because I did find another very similar one that was like $19.99, $16.99, but this one said $9.99, so I just went with it. It could have also been a return, because this is a weird looking tag. This probably was a return. I don't care. It was only $9.99, so I do not care. So this is what I selected as a replacement replication. It's not a dupe because it doesn't look exactly like the spider thing. Thank goodness. I'm just calling like this series Dupe That Decor because of alliteration. I don't know, but I thought it could work as a replacement for the cast iron spider candy dish. It has like the black metal to it. No, it isn't a cast iron, unfortunately. That'd be pretty cool, but you know, it has the same black metal vibes. It also has the skulls, which I thought were fairly reminiscent of the little resin skulls that were on the scrolls, and it's also like a normal size candy bucket. You could fit actual candy in here and not, you know, two Tootsie Rolls in the back of a spider. I do also like the cutout trick or treat because I think this would be really cute with some candles in it or something, like some faux candles on your porch, so it'll illuminate really nicely. Because the inside is silver, the light would reflect really nice. But then on actual Halloween, you know, trick or treat, you can take out the candles and fill it with actual candy for like the kids and stuff. Or you could take it trick-or-treating yourself. You could do that. I'm not gonna judge. Listen, I don't care how old you are. If you're brave enough to put on a costume, come to my door, knock, and then say trick or treat, you're getting candy. You're getting candy. I don't know why that's reserved, you know, just for children. Anybody, no matter the age, who feels like trick-or-treating at my door, you know, they're there for fully just good trick-or-treating intentions, you get candy. So yeah, for $9.99, the size of it and the fact that it's not a spider, I personally think this is a winner, but let me know what you guys think. Spooky bucket. The next item that I thought was gonna be so easy to dupe at HomeGoods were the black floating candles. I honestly thought I would walk like straight in and be like, here's a pack of black floating candles. They're $5.99. Perfect. That wasn't really the case, unfortunately, but it turns out they are both very difficult and also insanely easy to dupe. So I was looking around a couple of different locations for these battery operated like floating little taper candles. And the issue truly wasn't that I couldn't find any, especially just like battery operated candles in general, pillars, tapers. There was a lot of battery operated candles there. The issue is that they were so expensive. When they get that expensive and they still don't got batteries in them, it's still gotta go buy batteries. I swear every single battery operated candle that I looked at was $10 to $14. I wasn't budgeting for that when I was looking for this box. I was looking for them at the thrift store. I was like, somebody who's selling this Amazon palette stuff has got to have some battery operated taper candles somewhere. But I could not find them for what I thought was a reasonable price. And I was like, well, okay, well maybe this is just the going rate for a floating, tapered, flickering, battery operated, hang from the sewing string candle. So I headed over to the trusty dusty Amazon just to see if that's how much these types of candles cost, and lo and behold, it is not. I was able to find these same exact black taper candles, the same little twisty cap on the bottom, little fishing string, and these ones even came with like the things to stick them to the ceiling with like little hooks on them. The same exact candles for about $1 a piece. I found many listings of battery operated floating taper candles for around $1 a piece, and we got 4 in the original box. So the value of those 4 candles probably wasn't a ton. It probably wasn't. So I could have just gone ahead and purchased some candles from Amazon, or just broke down and bought some of the taper candles from HomeGoods that are a bit more expensive. But the thing is, I have already purchased a big bunch of floating candles for a different video that I'm going to be using for Halloween and stuff. So I have a lot of floating candles, but I still wanted to get some type of candle for the video. So instead I decided to get a spooky little witchy battery operated pillar candle. In particular, this one right here. It was a pretty nice size. I liked the little witch with her little kitty cat flying on a broomstick. There's a cute little haunted house back here, and you know, of course, friggin' bats. I love Halloween. Now this one singular battery operated candle was indeed $9.99, but that was like the cheapest. I was finding them at HomeGoods. Now, if I had waited a couple of days, I was in the Dollar Tree and I came across like a battery operated full-on black lantern with like a flickering candle on the inside of it for $5. I could have gotten 2 of them bad boys for the price of this. But this is cute, and I was there. I was already there. And when I'm in like the zone at HomeGoods, I kind of forget about the other stores. There's a TJ Maxx right next door to us. I could have gone over there to see what else they might have, but like I was in HomeGoods and I was on a mission. But this is what it looks like out of its little plasticky wrapping. I do think it's really cute. It is wax, so it's not just like a plastic little thing. And then there's just a tiny little flickering bulb, and of course where you put the batteries that aren't included. Now, one thing that I didn't realize in the store, it didn't say like what kind of light it was going to produce or anything, you know, warm like glowing light versus like a cool bright light. And unfortunately this does have like a fairly white bright cool light, which isn't my favorite for like, well, anything really. I prefer like a nice kind of glowing warm light for everything, but at least this one is a very, you can't really tell in here because I have very bright lights in front of me, but this one at least is a very bright light, so it does really light up, you know, the little decor pieces on the outside nicely. I would prefer it to have that nice warm candle-esque, you know, fire glow, because that's what it's trying to replicate, is the fire of a candle. And if it really does bother me for some reason, I'm like, this is just, it's too white. Then I do have a few of these little, also battery operated taper candles that I can put around in here, and they will illuminate, you know, the pictures on the outside and stuff and look a little bit more like a real candle, which is also something good to keep in mind if this were to ever break and I wanted to still use it. I could just get little tea lights to put inside of here, the fake ones, and it would give that same look. Alright, so we got a $9.99 bucket, a $9.99 candle. We are $20 into our $105 budget, and the largest and most expensive items are still yet to come, so hopefully we can squeeze everything in there. Alright, so moving on here. Don't know exactly what I am moving on to or what I just came from. I'm using my new camera again. I was bound and determined to figure out how to make it look okay, but now there's a new fun feature where it overheats and I have to turn it off for like 15 minutes at a time and let it cool down, and then we start again. Technology is so much fun. Okay, so now the next item that we're going to be duping, recreating, reimagining is the little tapestry that we got. I personally really liked the scroll tapestry thing from the original box. I like the little skull heads on like the ends of the sticks. I like that it looked like a little vintagey, old-timey scroll, and I had a really hard time finding anything similar. Now, like I said, even though there were a good amount of things left in the home goods, it was definitely picked over. You could tell what people weren't super interested in, like what was left behind, but there wasn't a lot of wall decor, like at all whatsoever. I think I only saw one Halloween like wreath. There are a couple little signs and things, but not a ton of stuff to decorate the walls with. So it was a little bit difficult finding something to replicate the scroll. But the first thing that I found that I thought could potentially work was this little, like, it's sassy skeleton in a coffin tapestry slash table runner. I don't know, he was sassy because he was like laying like this in inside of his coffin. But I found it while I was digging through all the table runners to see if there's anything I could like get away with hanging on my wall. And this had little loops on the top so you could actually hang it up. I think they said it was like a door decoration, but you could just hang it up on the wall if you wanted to, so it was an actual hangable piece of Halloween art fabric tapestry thing. I thought it could work in place of the scroll because there is a skeleton and then it had little skeleton heads on the sticks. It's fabric, so that was pretty good. And it was $16.99, which wasn't a terrible price, especially for a little bit of a larger piece. It wasn't, you know, made of wood or resin or metal or anything like that. It was just fabric, but at least it would take up a decent portion of your wall or door. So I threw him into the cart and then I went about my business looking for other items, and then I came across this little guy and I just, something about him, like I felt kindred spirits for some reason. He's like this little wobbly skeleton guy, but his bones are wood and his joints are held together with some string, and that just resonated with me. Except he's far more flexible than me. The only time my knee joint has ever done that is on dance team, when my dance coach thought it would be a good idea to sit on me while I was in a split. It wasn't. It wasn't. Anywho, so I came across this little rattling bones guy. I liked the way his bones rattled when he wiggled. It makes a nice clanking sound. He was a little bit more expensive at $19.99, so $3 more than the sassy tapestry skeleton. But he just felt a little more, even though he's smaller, get your leg in order, buddy. Even though he is smaller, would take up less wall space or door space than the tapestry skeleton, he felt a little bit more substantial. You know, it's wood, he feels kind of heavy. It seems like something that I could put up for several years. So instead of our little scroll, we have a little skeleton, a little goofy guy. I thought you'd be able to like at least see his head if I hung him from that drawer, but you just see like his weird little hollow eyes. So at this point, with the $20 skeleton, the $10 bucket, and the $10 candle, we have spent $40 of the $105 budget, and here's where things start getting a little interesting. Stick with me. So the next thing on the list here that I was working on duping was the light up tree, and I thought this was going to be one, hard to find, and two, very expensive, and both of those things were a kind of, no, well, not really true. The expensive part, yeah. Hard to find, not exactly. We did walk into Home Goods and I almost immediately spotted trees, light up trees in the distance. However, they were part of their Christmas decor holiday decorations that they had in there. So they were not black and spooky, they were white and less spooky. But I was thinking like it's pretty much perfect. It's like a item for item replication with the exception of the color. So I was gonna ignore the white and I was gonna maybe find some cute little bats or something to hang from the branches because I thought that would be pretty adorable. And then I could have also used the tree for multiple seasons. But when we went to look at the trees, the ones I was like making eyes with, like I was looking at them, the bigger ones, come to find out they were like $69.99, so it was 70 bucks, which is more money than we have left over at this point, so that wasn't gonna work out. Fortunately, however, they did have a smaller tree that was more along the size of the tree that came in the box, and it was only $29.99, so I was like, okay, that's much more within budget, so that's good. We went ahead and snagged that one up because we thought it was the only. And when I say we, I was shopping with my mom, by the way. It wasn't just me and like my imaginary friends or anything. I left them at home. Me and my mom were shopping, so that's the we I'm referring to. But we snagged that up because that was the only one that we saw at the time. Turns out there were several more throughout the store that were the same like $30 price point. So I was pretty okay with that tree being the recreated tree, and I was just gonna look for something cute to hang from it, or I was just gonna DIY some bats or something like that. However, it was just nagging at me a little bit. I really want to try to find a black tree to match, or just at least to go with the other black tree that we got, because I kind of wanted to put them outside on my porch for Halloween decorations. We have absolutely 0% outdoor Halloween decorations right now, so for trick-or-treaters it's gonna be a little barren, which that's not fun. So I did want to find another black kind of spooky looking tree to put on the other side of our front door. So while I was in the store, I got on my little smart cellular device and I went back to the Amazon. Now truly and honestly, I much prefer buying stuff like this, home decor, that kind of thing, in person at the store, especially if you're at the shopping buddy or something. It's just a lot more fun. There's a lot more to the experience, and you're also, I guess, yeah, you know, that's contributing to your local economy, right? Even if it is home goods, I think that counts. But because I was wanting it for a specific purpose, and I really want to make these things that I get for these videos actually usable and something that I'm going to use like year after year, I figured I would turn to a place with just a lot more options, just all the options. And I ended up finding a listing for 2 6-foot black trees with orange and purple little lights on them. Okay, now technically, if this is where we get technical, the little like $29.99 white tree at Home Goods is about all I could afford in the budget. However, the budget's gonna get a little interesting at the end of this video, because depending on what ghost you decide you like best at the end of this video, the one that we either purchase or the one that we end up DIYing, there potentially could be some wiggle room in the budget. So, and the price I paid on Amazon was for 2 trees and not 1, so that also, I think, you know, that counts for something, right? Like the price per tree is less. So at the time when I purchased them, which I wish I had waited a couple of days, but when I purchased them, they were 2 trees for 60 bucks. So like 30 bucks a tree, which is the amount that I was gonna pay for the one tree at Home Goods, except for this one is taller and actually Halloween and spooky. However, now that listing for the 2 trees is $53.99 with a 15% off coupon, bringing the total to like 46 bucks for the pair, $23 a tree. But either way, either $30 a piece or $23 a piece is great compared to the Home Goods price, because the Home Goods price for one tree is $70. So that's fantastic. So here are the trees that I purchased from Amazon. They definitely have a very different look to them than the original tree from the box. The tree that we received in the original video is smaller. It's also covered in glitter. It has a lot more intricate little branches. Like the branches themselves have little, almost looks like coral, like a coral wreath. And what I really like about this original tree is the little lights. I think they just have the most nice kind of warm, subtle, kind of inviting glow. I think that it gives off a really nice glow. Now the Amazon trees are just a little bit more intensely Halloweeny. They really just scream Halloween. They are bigger. They unfortunately are not covered in black glitter. They almost appear to be wrapped in like perhaps black electrical tape. I'm not 100% positive. It looks something akin to that. And they have both orange and purple lights on them, but they are so much brighter than the little trees. Just like intensely bright. I tried to capture the amount of purple that they were giving off. They were illuminating my entire living room, dining room, kitchen with just a purple glow last night. My husband even commented on it this morning. He was like, you know what, you're right. Those are some bright trees. I was like, yeah, they are, aren't they? But I also think that's great. I love that they're a very like bright, intense kind of Halloween look because I would like the trees for different reasons. So the original tree looks a lot more like my indoor decorations. It's a bit more subtle, a bit more subdued, you know, a little less in-your-face Halloween-y and brightly fluorescent-y purple. And I personally would use a tree like that, like just all fall long. I don't really think it's a specifically Halloween type decoration. I could use it for fall decorations, keep that sucker up for Thanksgiving. But the Amazon trees just like really scream Halloween-y to me, and I think they would make for a better outdoor decoration. The first little tree, I was gonna put it on my front porch, but it's just, it doesn't really glow that much. It's not really that bright or large or noticeable, so for an outdoor decoration, I definitely think the big kind of purple and orange, very bright trees would be great. It also did come with little stakes, so you could stake them into the ground. The little tree has holes for stakes, but they weren't included. Now, if I was gonna have a Halloween party, then I definitely would prefer the really intensely bright purpley orange Amazon trees for indoor Halloween decorations, because I think that would look really nice. Again, it gives just like such a nice purplish glow to the living space. So I think both of them are nice just for perhaps different purposes and different looks, whatever you're going for Halloween. Now, some of y'all may disagree, and that is fine. That is fine. But I am only gonna count one of the Amazon trees in our final budget. If you can't compute that, then just pretend that I bought the home goods tree, because they would, one tree from Amazon and the one home goods tree, they're the same price, 30 bucks. So just pretend that I ended up purchasing the small white one that was more the size of the original tree, and we'll be all good. We'll be fine. So that adds another $30 to our total running budget. We're up to 70 bucks now, and we still have the persistence. The glowing sparkly black tree is probably supposed to be like the showstopper moment of the original box, but I just can't get that spooky little child ghost out of my head. So that to me is the persistence. So at this point we have $35 left in our budget to get us a creepy little ghosty. And I'm going to show y'all a couple of different ways to dupe this ghost. The first is to not dupe it at all whatsoever and just purchase some little spooky figure that doesn't look like a scene from Paranormal Activity, and then be done with it and be happy. And then just not worry about having like a little floating sheet around your house. And then the second option is to actually dupe it, but by making it yourself, because let's be honest, the first one looked like a DIY. And it honestly was. Anything that you have to like put PVC pipe together for, that's a DIY project. So first up here, let me show you guys what I found at Home Goods. I thought that this would do two separate things. One, it would like kind of capture the essence of a sheet ghost, but at the same time, I wouldn't fear, again, there would be a small sunken-eyed Victorian boy hiding underneath it. I think you're gonna get what I mean when I show you this little thing. It's also creepy. Look at that. Isn't he just kind of weirdly spooky and creepy, but at the same time, like a little bit adorable? Like he captures the essence of the child that was hiding beneath the sheet ghost. It's mainly white. It has these black sunken eyes, and it's a little creepy. But the thing I like about this little guy is that it doesn't look like I made him myself, and I don't think he's gonna follow me around at nighttime. I don't know, there's something a little bit endearing about him. It looks like a little kid from like a cartoon or something playing mummy dressed up, you know, looking around and stuff. He does got a little spitter on his toe there, but his little tootsies are turned in, so like even if he was kind of creepy spooky, like you gotta see the little pigeon-toed tootsies and be like, oh, he's not a threat. So this little guy here was $24.99, 25 bucks, which is under budget, by the way. I think I had like 35 bucks left in my budget. This one's 25, so technically if we went with this option here, we would have $10 left over. And something like this, maybe not exactly this, but something like this is a little bit more of what I anticipated seeing in a fairly expensive home decor box. Honestly, he's kind of unnerving too. I think it's just the black soulless eyes. I also wanted to try my own hand at making a little spooky sheet ghost because I figured it would be incredibly easy. So that's what we're gonna do next year. We're gonna go DIY us a sheet ghost or 2 or 3. Honestly, I just kept finding things that I could turn into ghosts around my house. And then the one thing that I did actually get from the thrift store to purposely turn into a ghost. Because when I first was like thinking about the ghost DIY, I was like, all right, I have to construct the skeleton of the ghost. I wasn't really thinking a bit more like broad of what I could just turn into ghosts around my house. So I did purchase something that I thought I could turn into the body of the ghost. It is a wreath holder. It has a nice heavy base. I found it at the thrift store for 10 bucks. And my thought process was shove a styrofoam ball on the top, drape a sheet over it, pop some felt eyes onto it, and then you got a ghost. Oh, and then I also got some little plug-in lights because, you know, the ghost that we did get originally had a couple of little fairy lights like on a string, but honestly, they're so dim and there's so few of them that you can't really even see them through that kind of thick sheet. So my first DIY is going to be with my wreath holder. Again, the base is already weighted. There's a nice stick to shove some styrofoam onto. I did find that styrofoam balls are not as cheap as I'd like them to be. They're not insanely expensive, but they're like 5 or 6 bucks. I didn't want to spend 5 or 6 bucks on a styrofoam ball. So I found this little styrofoam skull instead at Michael's and it was a half price, so it was like 2 bucks. And I think it's gonna be spookier than just a ball. So I'm gonna shove this little skeleton head onto this stick. I'm gonna take this old curtain that I found. It's like a velvety curtain. I don't even know where this was hanging in my home. Can't tell ya. If you don't happen to have a velvety curtain laying around, you could also use a couple bed sheets if you want to layer them up for like a more, you know, thick look. You could use a type of like blanket. You could get creative and do something with a pattern. Who said the ghosts have to be perfectly white? So yeah, I'm gonna drape this over it, and then I bought this little sheet of felt for 25 cents. I'm just gonna quickly cut out a pair of little googly eyes and double side tape it to the velvet because I'm not 100% sure yet if I really want to destroy this curtain or not. Maybe I want to use it for something. Oh no, I made him goofy.
Still a ghost. Be a little goofy.
He still looks goofy. And there, yeah, there you go. There you have it. There's ghost number 1. And then I went to the Dollar Tree and I found this little like floating ghosty guy. I guess just to hang it from like a tree outside or something, or wherever you want to. He has little like bendy arms, which I thought that was fun. And his head is also made of styrofoam. So I'm just gonna shove him right on that pole. I could secure him nicely with like some zip ties or something like that to make sure he doesn't float away. And with just a little bit of arm positioning, I think we have a very cute little cool looking ghosty. And this one honestly I think is less spooky, less scary. It doesn't look like there's something under there watching me. At this point is when I started looking around my house and just deciding that I can turn anything into a ghost. At this point I was like, oh, that candle holder there, that tall one, if I were to put a volleyball in that hole and throw a sheet over it, slap on the eyes, bam, ghost. Only problem is, well, 1, Tater destroyed the volleyball within like 30 seconds of me having it. And 2, you could kind of see like the lines of the volleyball through the fabric. So I did the only rational thing and I painted the volleyball with chalk paint. Now you can say that's too much, you can say that's going overboard, but honestly painting that just sphere was the most relaxing thing I've done in weeks. I don't know what it was about it. I had like a makeup brush and an old thing of chalk paint and I was like, I could do this all day. This glue was great. But now that you can't see the little lines, it makes just a perfect little spooky ghosty. You could even use a blanket. I like the fringe on the bottom of this one, gives it a bit more texture. Maybe this was like a boho ghost. You could use a lamp. You could use a vase. I opened my garage door and just started like kind of surveying the stuff in there and I was like, oh, that big lamp, if I had a beach ball and like a couple king size sheets, I would have a massive ghost. There's a little topiary right there, Christmas topiary, sheet and some googly eyes, ghost. I learned fairly quickly if you can round off the top of anything and throw a sheet over it, you got yourself a ghost. So there are all of my little ghost DIYs and you know, depending again for this category, which one you would select, whether it's the $24.99 ghost or it's the ghost that I made made out of like the $10 stick and the $1 floaty man, or the ghost that I made out of something that was already in my house plus a $5 volleyball painted white. You know, there's different options for price ranges here for ghosts. So honestly, for this one, I'm gonna pick my favorite, which is the ghost that I made out of the $10 wreath stand with the little $1.25 already pre-made ghost stuck on it. I like the shape of it the most. I think it's the most like classic ghost look, and it doesn't spook me. So I'm gonna say for the last category here, I spent like 12 bucks, which brings me well under budget. All right, I've crunched some numbers here to figure out like the different configurations and how much I would either be under or over budget. So if we did the little setup here, the trick-or-treat bucket, the candle, the skeleton, the little mummy, and the tree, that would bring us to $95, which is $10 under our $105 budget. Now, if we were to do the cauldron, the candle, the little skeleton, my 2 trees, and then my favorite variation of the ghost, which is the DIY one with the wreath holder and the Dollar Tree actual ghost, it would be a total of $112. So that would be $7 over budget, so that one blows the budget. However, if you were to take one of the trees away, we would still have a tree and a ghost and a pot and a candle and a skeleton, and that would bring the total to $82, which is $23 under budget, and I think that's pretty good. I can live with this assortment of things. However, if we still did want to include both trees, we could do the cauldron, the candle, the skeleton, 2 trees, and then the ghost that I made with random stuff around my house. And if we do that combination right there, that brings us to a perfect total of $105. And I get 2 trees. There are all the different configurations. There are several. There are many. Let me know what you guys think about them. I try to keep things a little bit cohesive. We went for more of like a black and a white theme, with the exception of the very colorful tree. But I'll show you guys like my favorite configuration versus what we got in the box, and you all can decide which one is your favorite and let me know how you think I did. I really actually did think it was interesting doing it this way, showing like a DIY option, a more cheap option, just different ways to configure the items to give us either like a better price point. You know, we got it down to as low as 82 bucks and still had the same amount of items that came inside of the box, or to get us like right on the money, or maybe just like a tiny bit over for, you know, like a more extravagant option. That's all I have for you all today. Thank you so very much for watching. Please go ahead and consider subscribing if you would not mind. We actually have another one of these videos coming up very soon. We have another even more expensive, like double expensive Halloween decor box that we're going to be unboxing, and then I'm going to go shopping and see what I can find. So if you'd like to see that, be sure to stick around and subscribe. It really would mean the absolute world to me. I just hope you guys have a lovely, wonderful, fantastic day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!